Hi friend, welcome back to the channel where we focus less on trying and more on being the best version of ourselves. If you're new, welcome. I'm Aisha. On this channel we talk about conscious manifestation, reality creation, deciding to have the things you want, things of that nature. If you're interested in one-on-one help with that, everything you need to know is in the description box below. Let's get started. So today I thought it would be exciting and a good way for us to catch up if I answered questions from your comments, and some questions are better answered in video format where I can sit here and yap to you extensively and actually explain all of my thoughts better than I can in however many characters you are allowed in a YouTube comment. I actually think that you can write quite a long comment because I certainly see paragraphs in my comments, and that's neither here nor there. Send them my way. I definitely will read your comment, but like I said, sometimes it's just easier for me to sit down and answer your question in a video. So if you see your comment in today's video, hi, you did post it on a public channel, so I'm gonna include the comment on the screen. So I do hope that's okay. But again, this is a public channel and you asked me a question, so I will display for everyone's reading, viewing, learning pleasure. I would also love to do this more often, so please, I know that I've said before, don't ask me a question. And you know what I mean by don't ask me a question. I mean, don't ask me a stupid question, okay? And you know what a stupid question means. A question that is implying that you're in a victim state, that you're not allowing yourself to have what you want, that you're being silly. You're being silly and playing mind games with yourself to delay actually just becoming the version of you who gets to have what you want and just letting it be that. But I understand, and we are all here for learning purposes. I want to share. I want us all to be able to expound on this knowledge and for it to be so deeply ingrained in your brain that this just becomes a part of you, to the point where you can literally be in the comments answering people's questions as if you are me. Like sometimes I just see people's replies in the comments to questions and I'm like, you go bestie. That's exactly what I would have said. So I love that for you. I love that for us. But if you do have a genuine question, of course, I'm here to answer it. So that is what we are doing today. I have collected a few. We'll play it by ear. I actually genuinely don't even remember the comments that I have because I've been collecting them for a few weeks. So here you are. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Love Gabrielle XX2854. She says, you're very intelligent and explain complex concepts with ease. Thank you so much. I find that because I'm an emotional person, I tend to react to my 3D more than I should, and I have to continue to start over in my conviction. Any advice on how to unlearn this behavior? Yes, first of all, I like to nitpick at things just so that you can understand what it looks like to me from an outside perspective, how your question always has the solution inside of it. If you were to zoom back into that neutral observer perspective, it's very easy to see the solution for complex problems. The solution is always in the question. There's really no question or problem or situation or circumstance that is without a solution. It's always inherent in it if you are able to look at it objectively. So I always pinpoint every time somebody uses the words I am. So you said, I find that because I am an emotional person. Stop right there. That is your self-concept. You have an image of yourself as being an emotional person. Now, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that if that's what you choose, if that's what you want. So if you are identifying as an emotional person, then obviously that's the experience you're gonna have. If you don't like that, then you could easily shift that to being, I am an emotionally intelligent person. I allow my emotions to be indicators of where I should put my awareness. I'm in tune with myself emotionally. Whatever you want to shift that self-concept into being that is a little bit more productive for what you're trying to do is totally okay, and you are totally capable of doing that. Shift the story from I am an emotional person to I am whoever it is that you want to be. Whatever version of yourself would be the solution to the problem. So you find that you tend to react to the 3D more than you should. I also don't like should and shouldn't. You can do whatever you want. If you want to choose that your emotional reactions affect your manifestation or affect your ability to manifest in the way that you want or get the things that you want, then again, that is your story. But if you find that your problem is identifying as an emotionally complex person, then the solution would be to be the version of yourself that is not emotionally complex, who understands yourself, understands your needs, and is easily able to transmute your emotions. Another thing about this is whenever you are feeling triggered, whenever you feel like something is bothering you, there is always an underlying desire. Every problem, everything that you feel like you're lacking, everything that you feel like you're needing is an indication of a desire that you have. So whatever that is, whenever you're feeling that feeling of lack or that feeling of being incapable of doing something or seeing something a certain way, whatever the opposite of that feeling is actually what you desire. So instead of focusing on the feeling of feeling stuck, or feeling like you're reacting, or feeling like the 3D has more power over you than you have over the 3D, which doesn't make any sense because you are the power that manifests the 3D. Decide that whatever that opposite version of you is, whatever the next best version of you is, you are that person now. And even if you are reacting, even if it does feel like things are triggering you, understand that that concept, that feeling, that things can move you, things can shake you, things can make you waver in your conviction, comes from still remaining in that state of being the old version. So every time you become aware from that observer perspective that you are having an emotional reaction, that the 3D is bothering you, that's your opportunity to remind yourself who you are, of your power, and to stand firmly in your conviction again. Every time that you choose to do that, every time that you recognize, become aware, and choose to return, it gets easier and easier. So there's no issue. If you feel like you need to keep returning and keep returning and keep returning, then do that. It will get easier over time if you remain diligent in it, if you continue to persist. And every time that you see yourself returning and you get more deeply solidified in being that version of yourself, you will gain more trust with yourself and know that you are not your emotions. Your emotions are indicators of your desires. So whatever it is that you actually want, immediately when you regain that awareness, shift your focus back to what you actually want instead of focusing on the things that you want to change. Be the change that you want to see. If you don't want to be an emotionally reactive person, decide that you will no longer emotionally react. And every time that you become aware of yourself emotionally reacting, understand that that's an old concept of self. You can recognize it, so it's something that you can shift and keep making that shift. Every time you make the shift, it is getting easier and easier for you. And if it doesn't feel that way, then you need to affirm to yourself that every time I make this shift, it is getting easier and easier for me. You got it. It's not as big of a deal as you think it is. The important thing is that you are returning. The important thing is that eventually you do remember. So continue to do that. Every time you do, it will become easier and easier for you. And you will remember that the quicker that you make that shift in awareness, the quicker you realize that the problem doesn't actually exist. You unlearn the behavior by being the version of yourself that doesn't conduct themselves that way. The version of yourself who does not behave that way. You have to practice the new behavior and trust yourself to keep returning to that place, knowing that you do it every time, knowing that eventually you will return every single time will make it less likely that you will go back to the reactive triggered behavior in the first place. Next, this comment comes from Maddie-FK9PS. I will put it here for your viewing pleasure. They said, for the part about finding out why I'm stuck at a level of non-acceptance, what do I do after I figure it out? Do I just push past it? How do I actually start accepting my desire? I could overcomplicate it for you, but I don't think you need that. It is as simple as it sounds. How do you accept your desire? What does accept mean? To receive, to become open, to be available. So once you figure out what it is that is causing you not to accept whatever you want, let's obviously use the SP example because relatable, right? If you realize you're not accepting a love offer from SP because in the past you were scorned in love, somebody loved bombed you and they said they never wanted to be with anybody else and you were the one for them and they wanted to marry you and they wanted you to have their children or they wanted to have children with you, whatever, whoever you are. And eventually you found out that the whole entire relationship they were cheating on you. You won't accept that love from your SP, maybe because you realize that you are scared of being abandoned. So you have recognized that you have a story of not accepting love because you are scared, that letting that feeling in, letting that connection in will cause you to be hurt in the future. It will open you up and leave you vulnerable for something bad to happen. So the ultimate core belief there is that it is not safe for me to be loved. So what is it that you need to accept? It is safe for me to be loved. Pretty much the same as the last question. Whatever it is that you are not accepting, you tell yourself, I am the version of myself. I'm living in the reality. I'm fully aware. I completely and fully accept that I'm the version of myself who feels safe and loved. And as you're repeating that, even if it's beginning stages, even if it doesn't quite feel real to you, even if you haven't fully accepted it, when you think about that version of you who has fully accepted it, what do you see? What kind of emotions do you think they're feeling? What kind of stories do you think they're telling? How do you think they behave? How do you think they act? How do you think that they approach life? The situations in their life, the people in their life, the circumstances, whatever those things are, you become familiar with them in imagination. Saturate yourself with those feelings so that every time that you have that negative emotion pop up, when you're thinking of something that you feel that resistance to because you have not accepted it, your job is to shift as closely as you can to the best of your ability into the version of yourself that has fully accepted it. That simply begins by telling yourself, I fully accept that I'm the version of myself who is safe in love. I feel safe being loved. I accept that love is good. Love is safe. Love is reliable. I'm worthy of being loved. I fully accept that. And you can even start to tell stories from that basis. Like, give yourself prompts. If I'm a person that fully accepts blank, whatever the desire is, then I think about life this way. If I'm a person that fully accepts blank, then I see things this way. And just keep going down the list and like brainstorm all of the things that you can see that version of you seeing. How much can you see from that perspective? And how often can you return to that place every time that that feeling comes up? Can you quickly shift back into, no, I fully accepted this. No, I'm unavailable to be the version of myself that thinks love is scary, who thinks that it's not safe to be loved. I have fully accepted that I am loved. So obviously that's one example. You weren't specific about what your desire is. So it's not necessarily that you have to push past it, like you just have to deny whatever it is that caused that core belief to happen in the first place, but you certainly don't want to harp on it. You certainly don't need to do weeks or months or years of shadow work around something that you feel like you have not accepted. First, understand that yes, you are capable of accepting it. If it is your desire, it is your personal responsibility to yourself to accept it. So you are going to do that by whatever means possible. And the easiest thing to do is just to tell yourself that you have accepted it, okay? Try that, see how that works for you. All right, next question, next caller, please to the front. Here it is, his Kai guy, Hisky guy, something of that nature. They said, one of your videos just popped up on the suggested thing like maybe a week ago and I've been watching one after another. You are wonderful for one. Thank you. I think you're going to be the one I keep coming back to when I need encouragement, but I've been manifesting my SP and things haven't been the greatest. Last night and all yesterday I kept affirming how I am that I am and that I am God and just leaving it at that. That she wants me and misses me because I am God. Good. Anyway, I got movement this morning, yay, of her texting me after she had me blocked. But she has a bestie who is always around. I feel I'm in competition with her best friend for her time and attention, and this best friend only encourages her to go out and drink and club. Do I affirm the best friend away? How do I turn attention away from the best friend when it's not a romantic party? How do I get rid of this 3P? Thank you for your question. It does not matter. It does not matter if the third party is romantic. A third party is not necessarily a romantic. A third party is any person external to the situation, the ideal situation that is standing in the way of having what you want. So this could be a boss, this could be a family member, this could be a friend, this could be a cousin, this could be an aunt. The old version of you could be a third party in your own story, okay? So it doesn't matter who the third party is. Do you know what I'm gonna say? What third party? What third party? How do you take your attention from something? Okay. So what is attention? Attention is focus. Attention is awareness. Using your consciousness to project your energy towards a certain outcome. First of all, also, this is not first of all, probably second, third of all, whatever. What do you mean things haven't been the greatest? Things are always the greatest for you in your story because you chose that. That's how it is. You are the greatest of all time. You get everything you want, right? Also, you've got movement. You know that what you're doing is working. You know how manifestation is working, and now you have first person evidence. You have experiential evidence of it working for you. So the same way that you took your attention off of the old version of your SP, and now she's unblocked you, now she's texting you, take your attention off of that version of your SP's best friend that is not conducive to the relationship that you want with her, your SP, not the best friend, but also the best friend too. See, it doesn't have to be a thing where we have to make third parties disappear into thin air. There are multiple versions of your SP's best friend, the same way that there are multiple versions of your SP and of you. So you could simply choose to see a version of your SP's best friend that is supportive of your relationship. You could even eavesdrop on a conversation of your SP and their best friend. Your SP telling your best friend how happy she is and that you guys never argue and that things are so well between you now and how like things have just turned out so amazingly and she's the happiest that she's ever been in her life. And of her actually having a good best friend who is supportive of her and who encourages the best for her, and your SP is also encouraging the best for your best friend, and they've actually decided that they like granny activities and they prefer to stay in and have wine nights at home, and actually best friend also has a new boyfriend and they want to do double dates with you and things are going so well and everybody's just happy and jovial. It could go like that. It doesn't always necessarily have to be like, oh, this third party is bad, they need to be removed from existence. I would prefer them to not exist. Now, if you would just prefer her to be absolutely out of the equation and she's just like off the rails and a little bit too much to handle, she's just like, it's hot girl summer all year round, and you're just not seeing it as something that's good for you and SP's life together and the future that you see moving forward with her, then just decide that your SP now has different interests. She's not interested in going to the club. She's not interested in drinking. She's interested in staying home with you and enjoying activities with you and spending time with you and doing the things that you guys like to do together. There is no reason for her to be going to the club and drinking because she's not trying to meet anybody. She is not possessed by the Jezebel spirit, as they would say. All the girls at the club are possessed by the Jezebel spirit. God forbid somebody wants to have fun. Anyway, that was not a judgment on you. Just social commentary. Anyway, did I cover everything you asked? I think it, Things haven't been the greatest. Yes, they have. Last night and all yesterday I kept affirming how I am that I am God, and just leaving it at that, literally. So if you can affirm that for the situation with your SP, you can assuredly do the same thing with your SP's best friend. It doesn't matter who the third party is or what your relationship is to the third party. What third party? The third party doesn't exist means whatever version of that person that you dislike does not exist. You can easily see a better version of them, see them in your imagination the same way that you would see an SP, the same way that you would see a car that you want, the same way you would see an amount of money in your bank account, the same way that you would see the new job. See them in your imagination as somebody who you would actually prefer to be around, who is actually a good influence on your SP, or see them going separate ways in a way that is not catastrophic to anybody's life or friendship or well-being. You can get rid of a third party in a way that is actually peaceful and graceful. Okay, I promise you it's possible. Yeah, do whatever you want. Affirm the best friend away or affirm a new version of the best friend. It doesn't have to be catastrophic for you or SP's relationship. Just choose the story that you prefer and the one that feels most accessible for you. Like, I think that there's a misconception also that in order to shift into a new story, you have to completely lose your awareness of the old story, like it cannot even exist at all. The thing about it is that it cannot exist as your current reality. Whatever version of her that would be better than the version of her that you are currently seeing, it's okay to see her that way now and to understand that she used to be a certain version, but now she is this version. Or it is okay to say that she was just not compatible with your girlfriend anymore and now she's moved on. And your girlfriend has new friends that are better and more conducive to you guys having a positive, loving, fulfilling relationship together. Okay, hope I explained that in a way that was not too confusing. Next, this one is from Sepsis. They said, "Hi, I love your content. Thank you, I love you. I just started following your channel and I feel like the way you explain things gives me such clarity, motivation, and better understanding of manifestation. Thank goodness, that's the goal. Something I noticed is that I'm afraid of my manifestation. I fear my manifestation coming true because that means that I'll have to step out of my comfort, figure out everything with my SP, and my life will change. Do you have a video of how to persist even when you're afraid of the change / unknown / new beginnings that comes once you receive your manifestation, especially when you finally get your relationship with SP, but you're scared if it'll work or not? Because even though the current circumstances suck, it feel safer than when the manifestation happens, because that's when you have to live your dream and hope that it's the best for you. Any video regarding this or advice would be truly helpful, since I really love and understand the way you talk about manifesting topics. Thank you. You are so welcome, my love. So I get it. I totally get it. I totally understand. It can be really scary, because here's the thing. You're totally correct. A lot of the times, I won't say a lot of the times, sometimes, especially when things are very new or you're manifesting something that you've never manifested before, you're in a situation that you've never been in before, it can be scary. The unknown can be scary because you don't know what to expect, or so you think. But the thing about it is, you wouldn't desire it if you didn't know that there was something good on the other side of that desire. If you didn't know that that version of you in the end had what you wanted and was satisfied and fulfilled, you wouldn't even pursue the manifestation in the first place. It wouldn't be a desire that you had, and you wouldn't even feel that it was possible for you. You wouldn't even try, you wouldn't even attempt it, because you wouldn't believe yourself capable. It just wouldn't even be a thought that crossed your mind. Once you understand that this is something that I want, you have justifiable reasoning for wanting it, and that doesn't mean justifiable by anybody else's terms other than your own. It just means that you have recognized that it is a true desire of your heart, that it is what's best for you, what's most aligned for you, what feels good. Then you have to understand that no matter what the bridge of incidents may entail, that you are trusting in the end, not even necessarily in the journey there, but knowing that seeing it through is leading you to what you want, is what you hold on to throughout the process. First of all, you can acknowledge that stepping into the unknown can bring up a little bit of anxiety, a little bit of fear, a little bit of, oh, this is scary boots. But understand also that that fear of the unknown comes from the version of yourself who has not yet experienced it. And once you are fully embodied in the version of yourself who not only knows that you can have it, but knows that you do already have it now, knows that it's done, it's not scary, because you know that you got what you wanted, and it's fucking amazing. It's great. You're enjoying it. You're loving it. Otherwise, you wouldn't have it. So you don't have to hold on to that feeling of, this is going to be a scary process. This is going to be something that I have to overcome, an obstacle to work through on my journey to get to the other side. You can just go to the other side. You can say, yeah, from the version of me who is familiar with a set of circumstances that I fully understand and recognize no longer feel good for me, no longer serve me, are no longer my desire. Yeah, of course, having what I want is scary, because that desire doesn't match the current reality that I'm in. So it's only my job, your job, it's only your job to shift your awareness to the version of yourself who doesn't see it as scary, who sees it as natural, who sees it as normal, who is just another day, because it's fully integrated into who you are. That's your self-concept. That's who you know you are. And once it is so fundamental to you that it is natural, that it's obvious, that you're like, duh, my SP loves me and I love being adored. I love feeling so secure in this relationship. I love knowing that he's always there. I have a partner that I can rely on, who I could tell anything to, who I could be open and honest with, and know that I'm always going to be accepted. I'm always going to be loved. There is nothing for me to fear. It's so corny, but the only thing to fear is that fear itself, because that fear is what's going to keep you stuck in that old version of yourself. Continuing to stay in what's familiar just because it's comfortable, and not because it's actually what you want, not because it's actually what's better for you. So if you can change the story about being fearful about what's going to happen, and understand that you can choose what the outcome is, so it's not scary, because you actually do know it's not actually the unknown. Yeah, maybe the bridge of incidents might be a little like, oh, what's happening here? You might have to trust and let go a little bit of the orchestration of the how, but you know where you're going to end up. So if you can hone in on that trust and on staying solid and staying firm, persisting in being that version of yourself who knows it's safe, who knows it's secure, who is fully saturated in that end and knows that it is good, then you really have nothing to worry about. Stay focused there and understand that that fear is a product of the old self, of the old version, of the old stories. And if that fear is coming up and it's coming with thoughts and stories and beliefs that you know you no longer resonate with, you can fully recognize that, hey, that's old version of me thinking. I don't do that anymore. If there's something for me to fear, then I'm still in the old version of myself who is victimized by the circumstances with my SP. I am now choosing to shift into the version of myself who understands that it is safe to be loved, it is safe to be accepted, and anything that comes my way, I will be able to handle it because I am the version of myself who is supposed to be here in this reality having what I want. And I know that I have everything that I need. I am fully equipped to accept my desires. Obviously, you don't have to give yourself that whole spiel exactly the way that I just did, but it's speaking to yourself in this way. Saying things of that nature. Continually reaffirming to yourself and soothing yourself with the awareness that what you're doing for yourself is good. And the old story doesn't actually feel good. It only feels familiar. And you can just as easily become familiar with a new story if you persist in it. And being embodied in that version of yourself, that story will not be scary because it will be natural, because it will be familiar, it will be normal. So if you're still feeling that way, all you need is just a little bit more saturation time, a little more gestation period. Just soak it up. Soak it up. Rest in your imagination and understand that trust is okay. Your desires are not leading you astray. And if it's something that you want, you are totally entitled to having it. And you can shift your awareness to the version of yourself who does have it and understand that seeing yourself in the end, like, hey, it's not scary. I didn't die. SP didn't leave me on the side of the road and block me and say they never want to speak to me again. Things are actually amazing. It's exactly how I wanted it to be. There was actually nothing to fear. The only thing to fear was remaining stuck in that old version of myself who kept looping that thought process and kept staying in a place that they knew they didn't want to be. They were just shaking in their boots because, oh no, how dare I want something better for myself. That old version of you can go fuck off, and they can leave all that fear and the yucky emotions and the anxiety there in that old reality. You're going somewhere different. So yeah, whatever I just said. Okay, I didn't realize that the hardest part of this video would be pronouncing your usernames. I'm so sorry. All right, if this doesn't say Satan G, I'm gonna sound a little bit cuckoo. Satanji. This person, this lovely human here, asks, isn't there a reality where I have everything I want and think about it and am desperate for it? If everything I can imagine exists, I don't get the rule of detachment. Why would I have to detach if there is a reality where I am badly attached and still have what I want? So, I have an interesting question for you in return. Why do you want to be in a reality where you are badly attached and have what you want? Why do you want to be in a reality where you're in such a state? Because you're correct. A reality does exist where you still feel lack and have what you want. And by that I mean you have the physical, tangible desire, yet you are still unsatisfied. I don't think that that's what you actually want. I think what you actually want is to be rid of that feeling of lack, that feeling of the burning desire, which is actually a feeling of lack, and actually detachment from what is fulfilling for you. And you want to just actually have what you want, right? I would assume that, and excuse me if I am assuming, I mean, do you know where you are? But I would assume that you don't want to be in a reality where you have negative emotions attached to your desire, because that is what you're doing. If you're manifesting from that state of lack, from that state of not having it, yes, you could still get your desire. This is the same thing that I talk about when I talk about robotic affirming or manifesting using any technique from a state of lack, which means you are still identified with being the version of yourself that does not have it, and yet you are trying to have it. Does that exist? Well, let's think about it. Do you think that there are people who exist in this world that have everything you could possibly dream of, that have all the material success, all the tangible things, that are in relationships with people who are amazing and would do anything for them, but they are still spoiled and entitled and ungrateful and don't feel good? I'm not saying that this is you, but this is a thought exercise. Stick with me. Do you think that there are people who have their tangible desires or the things that they thought would make them feel happy, and yet they still feel unsatisfied with their life and with what they have? Of course they exist. They're everywhere. You can see them in abundance on the internet. Just go on TikTok. I didn't come here to read people for filth, geez, and do so much social commentary, but genuinely, look around at the world and this day and age and this era of people having so much materially or like in their lives or privilege wise, and see how you could have all of these things and still feel like you are lacking something, still feel like you are in a state of desire, that you are so attached to having something even because you're scared that it's going to go away. So if you have what you want, let's say you weren't specific about what your desire is, but let's say that the desire is for a certain level of success. So if you get the success you want because you craved it and you hustled and you worked hard for it and you put your all into it and it fully consumed you, and you feel like that hard work is what got you that success, but it also made you miserable, how are you going to feel trying to maintain that success? How are you going to feel being constantly worried that one day it's going to go away? And do you not think that ruminating on that constant worry, on constantly feeling like, yes, this is something that I have, but it's not actually mine because there's a possibility that it could go away, because I'm not actually detached from it, I'm actually highly attached to it, and I feel like this tangible thing, this physical thing, this desire means something about me, whether or not I have it means something about me? Or does who you are as a person, what you believe to be true about yourself, mean something about what you get to have? So there really is no separation between you and what you want, right? Of course, it's okay to think that things are important in your life, to desire things, duh. But if you have such a level of importance, such a level of attachment to where you've put this thing on a pedestal, and now, like, against all that feels right within you, all that promotes a sense of well-being within you, is predicated on having this tangible thing, do you genuinely think that that reality is a reality you want to live in? Because you can go there. You can manifest in any way that you want. You can be very forceful about it. You can put a lot of effort into it. You could be highly attached to the outcome. But that's the reality that you're manifesting for yourself, a reality where you are highly attached to circumstances, to the 3D reality, and your existence, your being, your state of wellness is determined by what you have. That's not personally a reality that I would want to live in, but yes, you're right, it's possible for you, but I don't think that it's very productive, because if you understand that cultivating that sense of well-being in the first place leads you to being able to have anything you want in a reality freely and not being attached to it, understanding that it's okay to want things and have things, but you're not attached to the outcome because you are the one who created the outcome, manifested the outcome, chose the outcome, and you could easily choose something new tomorrow, and it just is what it is because it's just your choice, it's just what's aligned with you, and it doesn't have to be a big deal. Things can come and go, and that's just what it is, and if you decide you want it to come again, then it'll come again. If you decide you want it to go again, it'll go again, and it's not that big of a deal because you are the thing that remains. I personally think that that is a much healthier perspective to manifest from. So again, there's no rule. You don't have to detach. But I think that the reason that detachment triggers people or gives people this sense of unease is because they think that detaching from something means that you're not allowed to want it or you're not allowed to have it, or that you think that it's completely unimportant. It's not that things can't be important to you, it's that that thing shouldn't be more important to you than your own internal state of well-being, because anything that you do manifest is going to be a product of your state and is going to be coded with that energetic signature. I hope that's not too much woo spiritual language for you, but do you understand that whatever your state is going to be reflected in whatever the circumstances are and whatever it is you manifest? So if you manifest from that state of being highly attached, then you're always going to be highly attached, and your well-being is going to depend on whether or not that thing is there or not. That's you putting your power in the circumstances, power in things that are seemingly outside of you, and not understanding that everything that's outside of you came from within you. It was a choice that you made internally. So why would you have to detach if there's a reality where you are badly attached and still have what you want? You don't have to detach. You don't have to do anything. But I don't think that that's actually what you want. I don't think you want to live in a reality where you are badly attached and have what you want, unless what you want is to be badly attached and to feel like your life is dependent on the things that you have and the things that you manifest, and if those things go away, then you're not going to be okay. The thing about it is, if you feel okay always, if you choose to feel good always anyways, if you choose to feel good and feel fulfilled, and that's not dependent on any circumstance, it's solely dependent on your choice, then you are going to manifest the things that you want, and it's going to feel a lot better, and things are allowed to come and go, and you're actually going to manifest a lot more of the things that you didn't even know that you wanted, that you were available for, things that might even be better for you, that you could have never even imagined. And on top of that, things that you wanted, the specific things, and it's gonna feel really good because you already feel really good, but you're not gonna have your sense of well-being attached to those things. Hope that makes sense. Oh, I thought I had 8, but I actually screenshotted this question again because somebody made a reply to the previous question, and they said, I think the answer lies in the fact that you cannot serve 2 masters. Those states are oppositional, so you can't embody both at once. Makes sense. So what they're saying is that you cannot be in a state of lack and also have what you want. You think what you want is the tangible thing and that the desire is going to make you feel a certain way. But that's the other way around. We've talked about this before. That's the law of reversibility. You are not going to feel a certain way when you get a certain thing. It's not going to be the thing that makes you feel a certain way. You are going to get the thing after you begin to feel a certain way. So to say that you are in a state of lack and also having what you want would imply that you want to be in a state of lack and you want to be in a reality where you still feel lack even when you have what you want. So in the end, you're still not fulfilled. So it doesn't make very much sense. Hope that makes sense. So yes, you're either serving 2 masters or you don't actually know what you want. And you prefer to stay in the state of heightened attachment, heightened importance, because you think that getting that thing is going to make you feel a certain way, when in reality you can feel however you want to feel right now and get the thing. So you get to feel good and have it, and if the thing goes away you still get to feel good and you get to manifest something even better, or you get to manifest the thing back, or do whatever you want because you don't feel like you're lacking anything, because you are always fulfilled just because you're you, and that's not dependent on anything outside of you. I think I've repeated that enough. I hope you get it. Okay, love you, you got it. Want better for yourself. See, come on, like, you don't have to use your real name if you don't want to, but do me one better than this, like, do me a solid. Okay, this question comes from AF-GY7VU, and they said, I agree with all your points, but I have a question, Shorbin. If your SP and you both had past and you manifest them back, I'm assuming you mean a bad past or unfavorable circumstances. If your SP and you have had a bad past and you manifest them back, do you just pretend that the past didn't happen at all? I find it kind of awkward and strange not to address anything that took place and act like nothing happened, but I know that a lot of coaches say when you revised you can't bring anything up. So how does one maneuver in the relationship when the past is never addressed? I hope you're not implying that you heard me say this, because I don't remember saying anything of the sort, and if I did, shame on me. Okay, let's break it down. If your SP and you have a bad past, if you and your SP have a bad past and you manifest them back, do you just pretend that the past didn't happen at all? That's up to you. It's situational. Obviously, it depends on you, what the circumstances were, and if you feel comfortable speaking to your SP about those things. Now, you can decide to be the version of yourself who's comfortable talking about those things with your SP and decide to see a version of your SP that's comfortable having those conversations with you. That's possible, and not a big deal. The same way that when I was talking about the third party situation, it's like, you don't have to completely pretend that you are oblivious to something that you are obviously still aware of. It's okay to address it and also address the fact that you have moved on and you are in a different situation now and that things are better now and that you never have to go back to that reality. It can be something that you laugh at. It can be something that is silly. It could be something that is so far from your current realm of possibility that it's not even a threat. It's not a threat to what you have, to what's going on with you and your SP, to your manifestation, to what you are capable of having. It can just be something that happened. Silly old version of me. So glad they're gone. So glad we don't have to deal with that anymore. Do you remember when we were so silly and we thought of things this way and we fought about this and we argued? That's so funny. Isn't it crazy how we literally never do that anymore? Isn't it crazy how we could tell each other anything and talk about anything with each other? And it's no big deal. Isn't it crazy how we're so open and honest with each other and we're always there for each other and supporting each other? That could be the conversation with SP. Why does it have to be a big deal? I find it kind of awkward and strange not to address anything, so address it. If you feel like it's awkward and strange, then it probably means that it's not natural to you and it's not something that you actually desire to do, so don't force yourself to do it. I feel like it's one thing to address things that happened and to have a debrief conversation from an emotionally mature standpoint. And it's another thing to be constantly harping, bringing things up, holding things against your SP, like always referencing, oh, well, you did this to me in the past and it was like this before. How are you going to show me that you're different and this and that, you know? Like, you know the difference when you're still emotionally attached to the past situation and you're bringing it up because you want to revisit that trauma, you want to dredge something up, you want to start an argument, you know what you're doing. You can tell the difference between that and being able to have a healthy, productive, mature adult conversation with your partner. And if you feel like you're ready to open up that safe place and be a safe place for your person and for them to be a safe place for you, then you can address whatever you want. I wanted to say whatever the fuck you want. I don't know why I didn't say it. Why am I pretending like I don't cuss all of a sudden? You can address whatever the fuck you want. It's your relationship. Make your own rules. Let it be how you want it to be. And don't worry about what other coaches said. Yes, there's also the option of completely revising something to the point where people have barely or no recollection of things that happened in the past. In order for you to do that, you have to have a very, what is that word I'm looking for? Drastic. Thank you. In order to shift realities like that, you have to have a very drastic shift in your own self-concept to be a version of yourself who has completely decided never to return of thinking of that situation ever again in the way that it was, and to only focus on things being the way that you see them now, and to choose to believe that the people in your reality who are aware of that situation are no longer aware, to the point where you are not even aware of it, where it genuinely just does not exist to you. Of course, the possibilities still exist and always will exist, but if you have locked it out of your awareness so far to that extent that nobody in your reality is bringing it up, nobody is aware of it, then you could say that you have completely revised it. I don't think that needs to be the standard for revision. The only thing that needs to happen in order for you to revise successfully is that you have changed the past, you have shifted the situation enough to where you are allowed to have what you want, to where your manifestation is able to seamlessly appear in your reality, and you're able to have what you want without any hangups from the past. As long as that past situation is not affecting your manifestation negatively, there is no reason why you need to pretend that you're not aware of it when you obviously are. But if it's bothering you, let's change the story a little bit more. Let's just tweak it just a little bit to where it can just be a thing like, yeah, that happened, and so what? So what? Yeah, we used to be this way. Yeah, we used to like not get along most of the time. Yeah, we used to fight about this. Yeah, we used to not agree about that. Yeah, we had these situations that happened that weren't the best. Thank God we don't do that anymore. Thank God we're not those people anymore. Thank God we're in so much of a better place, and it has been that way for a long time, and it's always gonna be that way for the rest of time, and let it be that. Okay, I hope that was helpful. Last question. This question is from Keely McKinley 9549. Hi Keely. Question: is it better or worse to be specific or vague? For instance, if I'm focusing on the desired version of SP for recreating, should I make a laundry list of desired attributes and remind myself of them all the time? Or is it better to say I'm in a happy, healthy, romantic relationship with the best version of SP? Does infinite intelligence fill in the gaps? Is making a list trying to control? I talked about this a little bit in my last video. It wasn't specifically about SPs, but I also talked about how literally it is the same, whether you're manifesting a new love or a specific person. It's the same thing. The thing that matters ultimately is, who are you being? Are you the version of yourself that is in that happy, fulfilling, committed relationship with your specific person? For some reason, that like string of words is so funny to me. Yes, decide to be the version of yourself that is in a happy, healthy, romantic relationship with the best version of your SP. It does not matter how you do it. You can be as specific as you would like to be. You could be as vague as you would like to be. And I see where your discrepancy is, and I will quell those fears for you. The thing about it is, again, do whatever you want. It really doesn't matter. If it feels better for you to write that laundry list, then write the laundry list, girl. And if it feels better for you to just detach and say, I know that the best version, like just the best version, is the version that I'm getting, and I trust that infinite intelligence is bringing that best version to me. So I have absolutely nothing to worry about. And you could even do a little bit of both. You can mix and match. Whatever feels best in the moment, whatever is the vibe, is what you should do. Find what feels good for you. But Again, I see where your discrepancy is because you're asking, is making the list trying to control? So this is the thing. Control only becomes a factor. And maybe, I don't know if you have law of attraction trauma, but it could also be coming from that, because I know that sometimes it's like, oh, what's best for me, what's intended for me, what's meant for me. That's a thing that you can totally tap into. And I even do that sometimes. And especially if there's a feeling of resistance to it, it's totally okay to go into that mode of whatever's best for me, whatever's meant for me. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. But when it becomes, oh, you're wrong for wanting something specific, or you're messing with other people's free will, or you're trying to control because you want something specific, I'm like, we don't do that over here. That's not what it's about. Control really only comes into the conversation when we're talking about controlling the how, when you're trying to control the orchestration of the desire, like when you're manipulating things in a 3D to try to get something to happen. What you're talking about, like making a laundry list, is still within the realm of putting in your order, telling infinite intelligence what it is that you desire. You are allowed to desire as specifically as you would like to. You are also allowed to be as vague as you would like to. But if you're gonna be vague, you're still making sure that you're tapping into that feeling of being in the best relationship with SP that is possible, and being the version of yourself that is already in that relationship and has fully accepted and is embodied in that reality for yourself. That's really the only thing that needs to be done. Again, the control factor only comes into play when you are trying to force somebody to change, or force somebody to act in a certain way because you need to tick something off of your laundry list. Do you know what I mean? Finding the balance within that is saying that this is something on my laundry list, and even if I'm not seeing it in the 3D, I'm going into my imagination and fulfilling myself there, and fully accepting that no matter what I see in the 3D, the orchestration of that aspect that I chose coming to fruition is being handled for me. There's nothing that I have to do to make this happen. It's my desire, so it's happening. Period. The end. So, no. Making a list is not trying to control. You are free to make your list. If you're a list girly, go ahead. And I do talk about the manifestation to-do list, but that's not what I mean by that ever. What I mean by the manifestation to-do list is, oh, I need to do this, and I need to do this, and I need to do this. These are requirements for me to get what I want. There are no requirements for you getting what you want other than you being the version of yourself who has what you want. Anything else that you decide to do on top of that is your decision, and you are totally entitled to do that if it's what you feel is best for you. Okay, but if that's not actually what you want, then yes, infinite intelligence will fill in the gaps for you, as long as you are being the version of yourself who is compatible with the reality that you are asking for, choosing. But all making a list is just getting clear on your desire. And you should probably do that if you're not already clear. If you're not able to tap into that feeling of having exactly what you want and being in that end, then making a list might be the best thing for you to do. You don't have to keep constantly revisiting it if you don't want to, but even just doing it one time and being clear on it and knowing that this is my dream version of SP, this is my man, this is what I have laid out, this is what I am accepting for myself, this is what I choose, and I know that infinite intelligence got that message, God has that message, source has it on lock, and the orchestration of it is not for me to decide or determine or try to control. The orchestration is not your job. Trying to force it to happen would be the control aspect. Being clear about what you want is well within your rights. Please do. I think that's it. I think that's really, that covers it. Do what feels good, girl. Get your man, girl. You're not doing anything wrong. Bless your heart. Okay. That's it. That's all. I actually super duper enjoyed doing this. Also, obviously I super duper enjoy getting back to you guys in the actual comments, but sometimes life just gets busy, it gets hectic, and it does take time to like comb through questions in the comments, and sometimes I miss things, or sometimes like I heart it like to remember to come back and then it doesn't. I don't always like go onto my channel on the YouTube app. You don't really need to know this, but it's different looking at comments through YouTube Studio than it is just on the regular YouTube app, and sometimes things get lost. And so every now and then I feel like we should do one of these. We should catch up. So if you do write me a long-winded comment, which is fine, if you write me a long-winded comment and I just give it a heart and you were asking me a question and you're like, bitch, why did you just give me a heart? I'm most likely planning on answering it in a video. So feel free to leave your questions in the comments. I will make separate community posts maybe for more specific topics that you guys can ask me questions on, and I will film more videos answering your questions. I would love to. I would literally love nothing more. Okay. I enjoyed this. This is really fun. Thank you for everybody who indirectly participated in this video. Love you. Hope that you are okay being put on blast. Know that your experience is helping everyone. We all get to learn something from you sharing, so thank you. Thank you. Love you. All right, you guys, that's gonna do it for me today. I intend this message serves you well, and I'd love to hear your thoughts about it in the comments. If you're interested in working with me or checking out any of my other platforms, all that information will be in the description box below. And other than that, I love you all so much. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you next time. Bye.